Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, May 22nd, 9 a.m. Eastern. We have the SPY bulls with a little bit of an uptrend here pre-market. We're going to be watching the high of Friday. That's a very key resistance level to be watching, and that is up at 239.08. So I believe a lot of the recovery that we've seen over the past 2 days, we had that dump Wednesday. Very clearly, it was a single day event at this point, and the market is not falling apart. And Trump was just a reason for that pullback, a reason to strike some fear into the retail trading market and retail investors, and it really didn't amount to much at this point. So I believe a lot of this bounce has to do with oil. Oil has seen a very significant bounce of over 6% over the past 3 days, really lining right up with this bounce in the market. So I am going to be watching that correlation as well. I do believe consolidation in oil is due in the short term, and I'm going to be watching to see if that means that SPY is going to consolidate as well. Obviously watching the tech sector and watching individual names. What we're going to be doing today when we separate names, I keep talking about putting names in different categories in this scenario. And the difference in bulls is going to be whether or not they broke the high of the dump day Wednesday. Bulls that have broken the high of the dump day Wednesday are automatically stronger than any name that has not broken that yet. So Netflix has not broken its high of Wednesday, but S&P 500 has, and other individual names have as well. So we have SPY heading up here to test that high of Friday. That's 239.08, and the gap to fill after the dump on Wednesday is 239.63. So that's a potential today. We're less than $1 away from that level. We'll see what kind of strength the bulls do have here, but we are looking for this bounce to fade at some point. We are not looking to head right back to all-time highs after this dip. We're looking to set a lower high, and we're looking to fade back down to the 237s and looking to reach an equilibrium and settle down a little bit after all this volatility. So SPY on the hourly time frame, and that's another thing. As I was going through the morning whiteboard today, I look at the daily time frames, and I saw a lot of really unclear, like tough setups. But I look at the hourly time frame, and it makes things so much more clear. So I highly suggest if you are playing a name today, look at the hourly time frame. We have a lot of situations where we have a clear resistance rejection on Friday from hourly levels, and the 20-period support is catching up. This setup for SPY right now, I saw on at least a half a dozen other individual big names that we consistently cover. So the 200-hour moving average resistance is 230.85. We rejected from that 3 times on Friday, and the 20-period hourly support catching up here is 238.16. So we have a tightening range forming, and we're going to see a break this morning or this afternoon, either above resistance or below support here on the hourly time frame. So certainly a bit more clear on the hourly compared to the daily time frame. So checking in on SPY on the daily, we see that bounce. We see the upper wick of profit taking, rejecting from the daily middle Bollinger Band resistance for the second time in 3 days. That daily middle Bollinger Band is going to be in the 238.80 range, so we'll have to update that at the open. We are going to start below it, and we are going to test that level as resistance today. Here's the gap to fill up to 239.63. And again, as it has been for the past 2017, it's all about the tech sector and whether or not the tech sector can continue strong or if we fade in the tech sector as well. So just checking back in to XLK. Weaker XLK day compared to SPY, have not broken the high of Wednesday, upper wick of profit taking, so I will be watching XLK very close. And again, the energy sector with natural gas and oil both seeing really nice days to end the week definitely helped the market as well. So looking at the dollar is showing a lot of weakness and pulling back. We're at oversold levels. We've been dumping to lower highs and lower lows consistently ever since our head and shoulders pattern broke. We were covering that. We were watching this head and shoulders pattern for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it finally broke down at 99.23. And since then, it's been nothing but lower highs and lower lows. And we're now down at 96.95. And the next clear support on the daily is down at 95.89. So that's an important support level to be watching, but anticipating a short-term oversold bounce to occur sometime early this week. Checking in on gold. Gold is still seeing some upside, even though the market is seeing some upside as well, but a pattern that I've been noticing the past 2 weeks is that the bulls in gold and the market go in the same direction pre-market, but then once the bell rings, that inverse correlation picks up a little bit, and we consistently see gold and the miners fade if the SPY bulls stay strong. So going to be watching for that same pattern. Higher lows clearly on the hourly time frame from the end of last week and into this week, and we just hit a higher high. So the bulls do have a nice slow and steady uptrend, and if we break the consolidation low here in the 1251s, then we would lose that short-term higher low pattern. Silver is the same thing. Higher low pattern on the hourly, trying to see a break of the high of last week of 17.13. That would show a lot of strength in the short term if the bulls were able to do that, but cautious of a potential fade once the bell rings and we see that correlation even back out. So here's oil. We just hit a top here, maybe a little volume climax on the hourly. We got up to 51.41, and that's a bounce coming from $48 back on Thursday, I believe, Thursday morning. So that is a 7% bounce, just under 7% in 3 days. So we are anticipating consolidation. Support at this point is down at 50.12, and watching to see if that carries over into any market action as well. Natural gas, nice higher lows and higher highs. In the video over the weekend, I pointed out the lack of resistance really from the double top that we had at 327, and after 327, the next resistance was really up at 333. So nice upside because we dumped. There's not a lot of resistance on the way back up, and seeing a nice little oversold bounce recover here on natural gas. So cryptocurrencies, you're going to be hearing us talk a lot about cryptocurrencies. A lot of members got back in last week and started trading here. We've seen a 100% move here in ETH in 5 days. And this is the one that I've been talking about for weeks and weeks at this point, putting out all the videos. And at this point, as well as teaching technical analysis, I feel it's my job to point out financial opportunity, which is what I've been doing here in this space. But the last thing you want to do if you're not involved in this space yet, you don't want to run in here and be buying up at the top after a 100% move in 6 days just because you feel like you're missing out on the party. Otherwise, there is still absolutely trading opportunity here in this space, but you would need to be shorter term mindset and monitoring it very closely, because as I've been saying in my videos, I do anticipate, a 20% pullback to occur in a short amount of time in the near future. So we do need to be cautious of that. But again, there is so much trading opportunity in this sector, and it's the best trading environment that I've encountered in 4 years. The US MJ boom was a little bit better just in terms of, 100% gains overnight consistently. But I've been waiting for something like this for 4 years, which is why we are hitting it hard because of that opportunity. So if you're not interested at all in the cryptocurrency space, that's fine. Just please bear with us while we continue to cover it. And that's where a lot of people are today. We have a Canadian holiday, but a lot of people are trading cryptocurrencies. And I would say in the past week, the Chart Guys community has generated more profit than ever before. So it's certainly exciting and a lot of fun. And you can see the cryptocurrency space is now catching on to mainstream. I'm seeing articles on, Bloomberg, and everybody's talking. All you need is a multiple 100%, 1,000% move to the upside to gain people's attention. And that's what's going on. So huge gains to the upside. Ethereum's at all-time highs. We've got Bitcoin at all-time highs. And we are cautious because there is a conference Monday, today and tomorrow, that is a potential sell the news event where we see the run-up into that conference. And then perhaps we see some selling take place. So very cautious of that. But as of right now, we are at the highs and the bulls are in absolute full control. Lots of volatility there. There's 5-10% moves in an hour and really fun trading. So some names that I'm going to be watching are Baba and Baidu. Baidu had a really strong close on Friday, and we're looking for follow through today, a potential little gap up open. And to see a break of 192.37, we would look for higher highs to continue playing out on the daily. So Baba and Baidu have been extremely strong. These Chinese names, really a lot of Chinese names have been strong. Did see profit taking on Baba from the all-time high, but lots of wiggle room to pull back coming from that all-time high. And considering we came on the earnings reaction from 114 up to 126, certainly anticipating seeing some consolidation and profit taking after that move, but the bulls are certainly still in control longer term. And some other bullish names to be watching. CMG is in a nice uptrend where we have a clear higher low pattern still intact. And if we lose 476.04, we're going to be looking down to 466. So a potential $10 move if we lose that support. Otherwise, the bulls remain in full control. And another one that I'm going to be watching here is Amazon. I like the setup on Amazon because it's a tightening range where we're either going to see a new all-time high over 970.06. We have a little double top at those levels, or we're going to break the higher low pattern by losing 944 support, and then the middle Bollinger Band will be lost if we lose that level as well. So keep an eye on Amazon. There's a tightening range there. Google's a fairly similar setup, also in the tech sector, where we have our all-time high. Bulls need to maintain the higher lows. So just some tightening ranges to be watching, and we could see some spikes in volatility once those tightening ranges do see a clear break. So let's get into some 5-minute setups here heading into the morning as the SPY bulls just continuing to truck along and looking up towards that high of Friday. So let's start it off with KSS. And if you hear me throughout the day talk about ETH, LTC, or Bitcoin, obviously I'm talking cryptocurrency, so don't want to confuse that with tickers, but we'll just be commenting on that if we do see any profit taking. Otherwise, we're assuming the bulls are in full control of the cryptocurrency space, and I will talk on things if we do see that change. So KSS, bulls bought the dip in a significant way on Friday and closed up near the high of the day and 37.50. So we're up right at the high of Friday, 37.53. The bulls need to break the high of Thursday, which is the high of this oversold bounce attempt, and it was oversold on the hourly time frame. 37.85 is the level to break, and then we look at 38 psychological for the bulls to see this bounce play out. Just keeping in mind that we are likely to set a lower high after the dump that occurred back in mid-May, and the middle Bollinger Band resistance is going to be dropping down in the mid-$38 range. If we can break 37.85, the high of last week, the middle Bollinger Band will be a level to look at. We're starting with all 5-minute moving averages as support, so bulls want to continue to hold that throughout the morning and break that 37.85 level for higher highs. SKT, not much going on pre-market to be watching, but we have an oversold bounce attempt here as well, rejecting from the 8-period exponential daily resistance on Friday with an upper wick of profit taking. 26.51 was that high, a potential gap up open. Not much volume here pre-market to be going off of. If we do see a bull move, we have the highs of days to be watching for resistance. So 26.95, 27.30, 27.68, all the way up every day. The lower high pattern are all resistance levels, and the bulls want to close over these exponential resistances on the daily to indicate that this bounce has more than just a short-term move behind it. AMD 1145 and 1143 support. Tightening range on AMD, I'm looking at 1081 daily support, and resistance is 1162. If the bulls can break 1162, we're looking to close over the daily middle Bollinger Band, which will be down at about 1160. Update that level at the open. Bulls couldn't get over it on Friday, so 1162 resistance and $11 support if we lose all 5-minute moving averages. Bulls want to break that high of Friday. Sooner the better to give the bulls that confidence for continuation. So we'll be watching 1162 resistance very closely in the first half hour of trading. So Amazon's fairly strong here. Let's see where we closed. Just pointed out that daily chart with the levels to be watching, the all-time high. And we are seeing a higher open by about $4. So there's a lot of resistance in the upper 960s and the low 970. 970.06 is the all-time high. So if we do see a lower high compared to pre-market here, pre-market high is at 964.70. If this move tops out and sees a lower high and then we pull back and lose all 5-minute moving average supports, we're going to be looking down at 960.95 and then the low of Friday, 959.72. So have some 5-minute moving average supports at the moment. If we lose those right out of the gate, we will be looking down at the low of Friday as support. RL. So RL has been dumping and trying to see an oversold bounce play out, but we're being cautious. We've had the lower Bollinger Band daily resistance in play now for 5 days in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days unable to close above that level. Update that at the open. It's going to be down in the $69, $68 range. We need a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily time frame before looking for a bounce to start to play out. So on the hourly time frame, that's where I would be looking to get some signals that the bulls are starting to show up, and we need this hourly 20-period moving average as support, 70.46 and dropping down. Get that level as support and hold it on back tests, and then we will look for that daily bullish reversal candlestick to form and that oversold bounce to play out. So all about hourly 20-period moving average resistance. That's our gauge of strength right now. Bulls have to turn that level into support to prove anything. NBR, all 5-minute moving averages as support. Very strong close on Friday up at the high of the day, turning the middle Bollinger Band into support and breaking to higher highs. So resistance from here, if we're seeing a gap up open, there's a gap to fill. Let's see, I'm looking at 11, 11.20, and then there's a gap to fill at 11.65. So the bulls want to see increased volume over 10 million shares traded, ideally, and follow through to the upside. And that's a really nice way to end last week, and the bulls are trying to follow through with that. If we lose a 20-period 5-minute of 10.53, we'll have already filled the gap down to 10.56 on the daily time frame. So Momo hoping for a kind of reaction. Well, I guess Baba pulled back and then ran to all-time highs, but bulls are hopeful here on Momo, and we've got a gap up open to all-time highs right now. It's an extremely strong stock, and it's not slowing down at this point. Key support is the low of this consolidation of 44.75. Bulls want to hold that all morning, and resistance is up at 46 psychological, then 47, 48, all the way up as we don't have any resistances. Update the daily upper Bollinger Band at the open. It's going to continue to start the day as support. And if we lose 44.75 support, then we have to be cautious about potentially losing that upper Bollinger Band and seeing some consolidation. Earnings are tomorrow, 8 a.m., so we'll be watching if we see any profit taking by the end of the day. Need to be cautious of that as well if not planning on playing earnings. Grub, look at that dump on Friday. That was some bad news. Bulls tried to recover, and it is a bullish daily chart. We held the middle Bollinger Band on that test of 42.91. Update that level at the open. It's going to be in the low 43s, and the Bulls need to continue to hold it. I'm seeing resistance up here at 44.04, 44.30, and then 44.56. So lower highs on the 5-minute time frame as resistance. And if the Bulls can get over 44.56, we will look for the daily chart bullish pattern to continue, as that will break the high of the past few days. And we'll be looking back up into the upper $40 range if the Bulls can see that follow through and keep the daily middle Bollinger Band as support. Lose that daily middle Bollinger Band, that is a red flag. FL, looks like we've got a dump. When that dump was actually Friday. 58.13, must hold support. We do have some 5-minute moving averages as support in the low $59 range. The hourly 20 period is going to be the next level to be watching. That's going to be down at about 61, so there is some upside potential. If the Bulls can show up first thing, break the high of pre-market 59.54, make that 59.44, we're looking up at 60, and then the hourly 20 period resistance from there. So oversold bounce trying to play out. Need to be cautious, obviously, is fighting the trend, but if we can keep these 5-minute moving average supports, the 100 and the 20 period, then we could see a move up to that hourly 20 period resistance. QCOM, also strong here pre-market. Nice move to the upside. 20 period 5-minute moving average is 58.74, holding all pre-market, keeping the Bulls in control. Very strong close Friday above the upper Bollinger Band at the high of the day, and a gap up open is the result. So resistance from here is, let's see, we're up under 59, so resistance is up at 59.04. If we break that level, that's the highest price we've seen in over 3 months, and the weekly time frame would then have a higher high on this bounce attempt to play out. If we get over 59.04, the 50-week moving average resistance is going to be in the mid to upper 59.70s. That would be the next level to look at. Bulls need to hold a 20-period 5-minute moving average of 58.74 on this gap up open. Otherwise, we'll look for the gap to fill at 57.79. CRM, last 5-minute moving average support is 87.39. Gap and trap day on Friday. Bulls held the middle Bollinger Band on the daily. That's going to be in the low $87 range, and Bulls need to continue to hold that level to remain in control on the daily. We've held it the past 3 times. We've tested it in the past 2 months. A lot of bear volume on Friday, so we do need to be cautious. And that low of Friday was down at 86.44. So the daily middle Bollinger Band is going to start today as support. We're going to test that level again today. And if we lose it, we're looking at 86.44, and there's a little gap on the daily at 85.12. That would be the next target if we lose that daily middle Bollinger Band. Apple on the 5-minute time frame, also strong here pre-market. So going to be looking up at the high of Wednesday. Apple is another name that has not broken its high of Wednesday, so it's in a weaker category. High of Friday was 159.98, so we're right up at that level. And the high of Wednesday, 154.57. If the Bulls break that level early on, there's a gap at 154.72 to fill, and then we're looking at the all-time high. So the tech sector is seeing some strength here pre-market. Question will be, can that hold on for the first half hour of trading and set the tone for the Bulls to have some strength today? NVDA also extremely strong after hitting that all-time high, a complete recovery for those Bulls after that dump day on Wednesday. And you know those market bulls were just waiting for that opportunity to get in on some consolidation. So that all-time high is up at 138.22. We are going to test that this morning. The high of pre-market is 137.87. So the Bulls are looking for follow-through. And if we get a break of that all-time high of 138.22, we're looking up at 139 and 140. If we cannot break 138.22 at the start of the open this morning and we start to see some profit taking, it is a potential top fishing play. But we do have all kinds of support, hourly, 5-minute, daily, and it's one of the lead bulls, so would certainly be cautious betting against a blue sky bull heading up to test its all-time resistance, but it is something to look out for if we cannot break that all-time high early on. Facebook trying to see that tech sector strength that Apple is enjoying, and it is with all 5-minute moving averages as support. We did break the high of Wednesday on Facebook, so the high of Friday is 149.39, and we did reject from the daily middle Bollinger Band resistance. So that daily middle Bollinger Band is going to be at about 149.50. So we're looking up at the high of Friday And the daily middle Bollinger Band is key resistances. Support is 148.55, 48, 37. Lots of mid 148 supports. If we lose those levels, we look to the low of Friday, which is right where we closed at 147.96. So the bulls are starting strong. Question is, can we close over the daily middle Bollinger Band and see that follow through for the bulls? NTNX, 20-period 5-minute moving average needs to hold as support. Looks like we might have a gap up open. High of Friday was 16.22. So it is a gap up open. That support is 17.39. If we lose 17.39, I'm looking at 17.15, 17, and then down to 16.42. So that's a very important level for the bulls to hold. They want to see a break of 17.59 to be looking up at 18, and resistance after 18 would be up at 18.90. So must hold that 20-period 5-minute moving average at the open for the bulls to hold on to this strength on the gap up open. Overall, it's a bearish chart, so that adds more caution to the gap up open and potential profit taking. AAOI high of Friday was 65.93. So we're opening right at that level. 20-period 5-minute is 65.87 as support. High of pre-market resistance is 66.77. High of Friday already breaking. So we're opening right at the high of Friday. The highest price we've seen in over 3 months is 67.01. The bulls really want to break 67.01, and I do believe that's the all-time high. And that is the all-time high. So bulls want to break that right out of the gate, show their strength, and see continuation in blue sky breakout. So that's a key level to be watching, 67.01, and it looks like it will be tested today. Netflix. All 5-minute moving averages are support on Netflix. Another one name that has not broken the high of Wednesday. So the high of Friday was 158.08. Make that 158.05. So that's the first resistance. Second resistance is the Wednesday high of 158.78. So 2 clear resistance levels that the bulls have to get above. All 5-minute moving averages as support. If we lose 157.33, that would be a red flag, as it's a long way down to the next 5-minute moving average support. So low 157s need to hold for these bulls, but there's plenty of resistance on the daily time frame to be watching that the bulls have to break through to see some follow through to the upside. Google. GOOG. So we have all 5-minute moving averages as support. Looking up at the highs, 943.11 was the all-time high. And we're going to be in that range today. The high of Wednesday, 937.75. So going to test the high of Wednesday first thing. If we break that level, actually the high of Friday, 937.75. High of Wednesday, 939.33. And then the all-time high. So high of Friday, high of Wednesday, all-time high are the 3 resistance levels to be watching. If we can keep all 5-minute moving averages as support, the bulls remain in control and show their strength and follow through. And watching to see if these tech sector bulls can see that strength and follow through to those all-time highs. And that's what I'm going to be watching first thing this morning, the tech sector strength and all these names, most notably Amazon and Google, trying to get their all-time highs. So BAC, financial sector, it's been a lot weaker than the tech sector, but it has been seeing some bounce. BAC saw big upper wicks of profit taking both Thursday and Friday, and the high of Friday was up at 23.30, so we're coming up to that resistance. If we break 23.30, the high of Wednesday, 23.45, so 2 clear resistance levels to be watching with all 5-minute moving averages as support. And again, I'm not looking at the hourly time frames because it would take too long on all these individual names, but every single individual name, look at the hourly time frame. It really makes the picture more clear. Hourly 20-period support on most of them and bigger moving average resistances on most of them as well in terms of the 100 period and the 200 period. So JNUG, got to be cautious of the correlation, the inverse correlation to gold and the market picking up once the bell rings. We did break a little bit of this higher low pattern from pre-market. Support is 1885 and 1871, and the bulls want to break the high of pre-market of 1905 first thing. High of Friday was 1898, so we're going to test that high of Friday first thing. And if we do get a break of the pre-market high of 1905, the high of Thursday is 1997. So need to be a little bit cautious with the market strength, trying to play these bull miners, but they are holding up here pre-market at this point. We have just seen consistently the past couple weeks where that has wavered a bit and the correlation picks back up and we see fading into the morning. So we do want to be cautious of that. FCX, 1173 support. And resistance is the high of pre-market, 1192. So FCX on the daily time frame. Bullish reversal candlestick Thursday was confirmed on Friday. Resistance is 1199 if we can get over 1185. 1185 was the high of Friday. So we're going to test that level first thing. Bulls are very weak overall. It's a very clear downtrend on this daily time frame, and bounces have been short-lived. We need to keep that in mind. Daily middle Bollinger Band resistance is going to be just above $12, so have to close above that level to start to prove anything. We're on the verge of bullish MACD cross, but we need that daily middle Bollinger Band in order for this to be anything more than just a very short-term oversold bounce. So certainly want to be cautious on FCX and any name that's fighting a long-term downtrend. BX, 20-period 5-minute moving average trying to hold at 3140. Bounce underway. Nice strong day on Friday. 30.05 was the level to break. We're gapping up. Resistance from here is going to be up at, let's see, we're at 31.42. Highest price in the last 3 months was 31.20. So nice job by the bulls getting over that level. But as we know, we must hold this 20 period to see follow through. Strong move on the weekly time frame. Higher lows and higher highs seeing continuation. So to start the morning, resistance is 31.85, and key support besides the 20 period 5-minute is 31.12. If we lose 31.12, we start to see profit taking. The gap fills at 30.05. So 31.12, bulls really want to hold that level first thing. GD, all 5-minute moving averages as support. 197.32. Strong follow-through day on Friday. 196.50 was the high. A little gap up is coming. Lots of resistance at 197. A double top there. The bulls really want to break 197, and we're doing it pre-market, so they want to hold on and show that strength by keeping the 20-period 5-minute moving average as support. Lose that level, and we look to fill the gap back down at 196.50. 200 psychological resistance from here. Update the daily upper Bollinger Band at the open. That resistance is going to be a factor as well. VRX, all 5-minute moving averages are support. We've got the 200 period at 1356. The bulls are building a base of support at 1313 and 1314. High of Friday was 1378. So 1378, key resistance. Bulls need to break that first thing to see their follow through. Otherwise, we test these 5-minute moving average supports. And if we lose these 5-minute moving averages, we look down to the lows of Thursday and Friday. Strong daily chart still. If we can hold that base of 1314, a little double bottom down there, then the bulls remain in control on the daily time frame. USLV, support here is 1291 and 1282. So the bulls want to hold 1291 to remain their strongest. The high of pre-market resistance is 1311. And the bulls need to break 1302 to see higher highs continue on the daily time frame. So silver is seeing a little bit more strength than gold compared to Friday, but overall gold is stronger than silver on the daily time frame. So silver trying to play a little bit of catch up here. Again, watch the correlation between the metals and the market at the open. It shifts. Pre-market, I've seen the correlation act more direct, but then once the bell rings, it fades. So we do need to be cautious of the potential of that occurring for these bulls. LMT. So LMT 20-period 5-minute moving average support is 281.37. And the high of pre-market resistance is 284.06. Daily time frame, very strong day on Friday, closing up at the high, seeing that gap up open, momentum indicated by that really strong close. Resistance from here is up at, this is a big time move for these bulls, and higher highs. So we are very, very strong on the weekly time frame. Need to hold this 20 period at 281.37, and 280 is a key support as well. Lose 280 and we look to fade a bit. So if we lose 280, the bears are going to take over on this gap up open. But as of right now, we are very strong, and resistance is up at 284.06. Bulls in full control on the daily and weekly time frame. Check back in on SPY as we head into the open. Netflix bulls seeing some action pre-market. SPY on the daily, we are up near the high of Friday. We'll see if we can break that first thing, or on the 5-minute, I should say. SPY bulls certainly strong heading into the open. AMD, bulls need to break the high. There's a lot of resistance at 1152 pre-market. Bulls need to break that level for continuation. After 1152 is the high of Friday, 1162. Update the daily middle Bollinger Band. Bulls need to close over that daily middle Bollinger Band to try and see follow-through to the upside. It's a bit of a weak bounce at this point on AMD. The bulls have to prove themselves. X, same thing. That 4-period exponential resistance on X is a brick wall for 3 weeks. I cannot believe we have not closed over it yet. Bulls need to break 20.05 on X to break the high of Friday and need to close above 20.02 to turn exponential moving averages into support on the daily time frame for the first time since this dump took place. Keep an eye on X. A short-term 10% bounce is coming. We just need to be patient and wait for the signal that the bulls are getting ready for that to occur. So here we are at the open. Lots of green on the screen. Baba, a lead bull first thing. Looking like Baidu's pre-market gains faded. Didn't really see that follow through into the open. So Baba is looking up at the all-time high of 126.40. And Baidu is just trying to break the high of Friday, which we did do. We did see a little gap up open. Baidu, 192.37 key resistance to see continuation. But this move is fading first thing on Baidu. 188.26 is support. So just a quick glance at things. Looks like Tesla is a lead bull first thing. Obviously, it doesn't mean much in the first minute of trading. We need to see how things settle down. But as of right now, Tesla bulls looking up at the high of Friday of 316.50 resistance, heading up towards that level. So Baba bulls are a lead bull today. SPY is heading up to test the high of Friday. Really strong first thing. And here's NVDA heading up to the all-time high, just 40 cents shy right now. And Tesla heading up to the high of Friday, 316.50. So bulls are out first thing, keeping an eye on XLK. And it is the energy sector picking up the slack right now, as the tech sector is not showing convincing strength on this bounce on Thursday and Friday. GS is off to a very bullish start, checking the sector of XLF. We're right at the high of Friday. 23.48 is the level to break. It's currently a double top. We have topped out at 23.48, but we're still right there, so we'll give the bulls a shot to break it. GS, high of Friday, same thing. We're right there. 217.80. If we can break that level, the bounce will continue to play out. At this point, it's a very, very weak bounce attempt on GS. Both Wednesday and Thursday were very, very weak days, and it's a potential bear flag on the daily. If you're looking to play the financial sector, I suggest playing the lead bulls. If you're looking to play it bullish, that is. The lead bulls like C, way stronger than names like GS. GS would be a name that I would look to play in the financial sector if the bears were going to take back over. I would want to play GS to the downside. ISRG. Nice follow through for the bulls. Strong start. Hourly RSI is 85, so it is extended. But I do believe we are at all-time highs. So that means a lot less. Above the upper Bollinger Band, blue sky breakout, bulls in full control. So here we are right at the high of Friday for SPY. 239.08, and if we break that level, the gap to fill is 239.63. Biotech sector not seeing a whole lot of strength first thing. Biotech sector had a double top on the daily time frame Friday and then dumped, and support is down at 68.94 on XBI, and we're at the low of the day, so keeping an eye on that level. We've got Apple bulls seeing some follow through. They look like the strongest tech name so far this morning, as the tech sector is at the high of the day, as is the financial sector, keeping this market strong. Baidu bulls trying to show back up towards the high of the day. And NVDA still has not hit a new high, but we're right at the high of the day and just 50 cents shy of that new all-time high on NVDA. So checking back in on oil, again, I'm going to be watching oil very closely. It is consolidating on the hour, but still healthy. AAI, beautiful start first thing. So there's that 20-period 5-minute holding and nice continuation for those bulls. Need to watch that 20-period 5-minute first thing every time. Look at LMT, complete opposite. Lost it right into the open, followed through to the downside, profit taking on the gap up open. Completely different scenarios on AAOI with our 20-period 5-minute moving average as the guide. NTES, also very strong. Bulls are up at the high. And the high of this bull move is up at 295.33, key resistance. Bulls want to close above the upper Bollinger Band on the daily, above 292.69. Rejected from it the last 3 days in a row, so that is a very clear resistance that the Bulls need to see follow through and close above. ACIA has all 5-minute moving averages as support, trying to stay in control. On the daily time frame, we're in a wicked downtrend, and that has to change by getting over the daily middle Bollinger Band as step number 1. That's 46.79. Bulls are still very weak on this name, but we do have a double bottom to be watching in the low or the mid $42 range, but still not seeing any sign of the Bulls, and wouldn't trust the Bulls unless we can turn that daily middle Bollinger Band into support as step number 1. Looks like these bull miners are seeing some nice follow through to the upside. We're not seeing profit taking at the open, with the market going in one direction and gold and silver heading in the same direction. Obviously an ideal scenario. Not a significant follow through from the open for these bulls. NUGT is so much more strong than JNUG, first thing. Breaking the high of pre-market and at the high of the day, JNUG not that strong. So yet another example where JNUG weaker. So JNUG for the Bears, NUGT for the Bulls. Netflix Bulls trying to pick it up a little bit. They're now trying to become a lead bull as well. Amazon and Google slowly approaching their all-time highs as SPY is right at the high of Friday. BABA is fading a little bit after being unable to break the all-time high and fading a lot, losing all 5-minute moving averages as support. Support on the daily time frame is the low of Friday now, 123.07. So NVDA, bulls in full control with a new all-time high, 139 and 140 psychological resistances. No slowdown in those bulls at this point. And we've got the biotech sector now in the red and at the low of the day. So that weakness from Friday is following through to the downside now. We've already broken the low of Friday. Next support on the daily time frame is down at 68.43. Bears in control of the biotech sector. LABD seeing nice moves 2 days in a row. So lots of individual names are at their highs. Some clear weak names are CMG, XBI. Google is currently about $4 from its all-time high. Amazon is currently $2 from its all-time high. ACIA doing a good job keeping all 5-minute moving averages as support. So NVDA with that new all-time high, clearly taking the lead as the lead bull this morning. Still don't have a convincing move for SPY over that high of Friday, so we're still watching that resistance, but certainly the bulls in control first thing this morning. 5-minute RSI on SPY is 84. We're a bit extended. So keeping that in mind for some short-term consolidation. Keeping an eye out for some weakness in any individual names. Want to have some bears lined up in case we do see that weakness, and we do have the financial sector down near the low of the day. So BAC seeing that weakness. Last 5-minute moving average support is 2307. Unable to break the high of Friday. Friday was unable to break the high of Wednesday. So we have clear lower highs on the daily. And if we lose 2307 support, the hourly 20 period 2309 would be lost as well. And we'd look at the low of Friday of 2287 as the next support. Tons of individual names have their 20 period 5-minute moving averages as support. So watch those hourly time frames for those moving averages, very key levels, because a lot of names, if they lose those 20 periods, they don't have any hourly supports left, and that would show weakness. Dust 5-minute RSI is 26. 20 period 5-minute resistance has been resistance all of pre-market and into the open. Clear level. NOW has all 5-minute moving averages as support. High of Friday is up at 172. It's the only short-term resistance we've got here. And support is 99.87 to keep all 5-minute moving averages as support. Not seeing much. Oh, ISRG. That's not seeing much bearish volume on ISRG at this point. Need to be cautious playing against a blue sky bull. Support 881.53 and then the low of the day. But healthy consolidation at this point. Time bulls are in control with all 5-minute moving averages as support 1195. High of Friday to break is $12 on the dot. We did break that level already, so 1225 is the next resistance. Oversold bounce trying to get underway. Have to close over the 4-period exponential daily resistance at 1207. Twitter rejecting from the 200-period 5-minute moving average resistance first thing of 1850. Low of Friday, 1827 being tested. If we break 1827, the low of the pullback on the dump was 1797. A bit of weakness on the daily time frame for Twitter as we broke the higher low pattern on the daily with that weakness on Wednesday. Checking QCOM. QCOM is now filling the gap, but the 50-week resistance is 59.85. That's a resistance level to be watching. NTES pulling back at the low of the day after a strong start. So 287.90, 287.97 is the 20-period 5-minute moving average support, but obviously not a good sign hitting a new low of the day, and we are rejecting from the daily upper Bollinger Band for the 4th day in a row at this point. VRX bulls are in full control, holding their support on the daily time frame, trying to break resistance. 1378, the high of Friday, has been broken. Now we're looking up at 14 and 1414 as the next resistance is. Nice start to the day for the bulls, even with biotech sector at the lows and very weak. 20-period 5-minute support is 1364 on VRX. Facebook fading, so very weak, rejecting from all 5-minute moving average resistances at the open and dumping on increasing bear volume to lower lows. So this is a very clear weak chart. We broke the low of Friday. We have a lot of space to the downside now on Facebook. All hourly moving averages, all 5-minute moving averages are resistance. The next clear support that I'm looking at is from the dump day. Or actually from the recovery from the dump day, but this is one of the weakest recoveries that I've seen. And that's 147.47, and then 147 psychological supports on Facebook. The 100-hour resistance rejected the price 5 times Friday, rejected the price 3 times pre-market and at the open. Use those hourly time frames. They have a lot of good information. AMD is dumping, hitting lower lows, even though NVDA bulls are still strong. Rejecting from the daily middle Bollinger Band of 1156. Low of Friday is 1135. Break 1135, and we look to the low of the dump, 1081. We'll have 11 psychological support in there as well. Apple has its eyes set on that all-time high as the bulls continue to recover. JDST testing the low of the day. Had a little bit of upside, trying to get that 20-period 5-minute moving average as support, but not seeing any follow-through. So support 71.01 and resistance 72.30, just watching the range of the day, but we're close to breaking to lower lows. So bulls in full control still as SPY hits a new high of the day with an extended 5-minute RSI to the upside. Oversold bounce on AEO trying to play out. We need to break 1095. We just did. So 11 psychological and then 1117 resistances trying to confirm the bullish reversal hammer from Friday off to a good start. NVDA still trying to get new higher highs. GoPro bulls, very strong break. They had a bullish day on Friday for GoPro, and breaking 880 is bullish short term. Next resistance is the 100 period at 891 on the daily time frame. But nice job by the bulls getting over that double top of 880. KEM is dumping. The 5-minute RSI is down at 15. So daily middle Bollinger Band and low of Wednesday, 1266 and 1270 supports. Worth scouting an oversold bottom fishing play. SPY 5-minute RSI at this point is up at 87, extended to the upside. Checking back in on the cryptos, we've got ETH still very strong, 184 resistance and 180 support for the short-term tight range. LTC just made a strong bull move, but it's consolidating and fading. Lots of volatility there. 4% swings back and forth. SRPT dumping, trying to form a 5-minute bullish reversal candlestick with a 5-minute RSI of 19. And no clear supports to be going off of at this level. Potential volume climax on the 5-minute. Exponential 5-minute resistance. As the bulls try and see a short-term oversold bounce. AAL bulls in full control. Nice follow through to the upside. 46.56. Next daily resistance. Bulls in full control on the 5-minute. Last hourly moving average resistance. 46.11. Next level to be watching. Exponential 5-minute moving averages as support. Beautiful start to the day for the bulls. Inside bar on the daily time frame. Breaking to the upside at 45.38. Nice follow through on that signal. Amazon is on the verge of an all-time high. INSY bulls are strong with all 5-minute moving averages as support. Trying to close above the upper Bollinger Band after rejecting the last 3 attempts. That level is 1284 to close above. Next resistance on the daily time frame is up at 1328. DIS also strong. 20-period 5-minute moving average holding at the open and heading to higher highs. Oversold bounce on the daily is underway, but we're coming right off the low, and this is the 3rd day in a row of this bounce. 8-period exponential resistance is 108.32. And next resistance to be watching, previous support, now resistance at 108.50. So have to keep in mind we are fighting a trend. And it's been nothing but lower highs and lower lows. And in order to change that, the bulls are going to have to consolidate once we top out on this bounce, form a higher low and then a higher high to try and change the trend. But a nice strong start to the day. Just watching exponential daily resistance, which has rejected 2 other bounce attempts. KEM, no bounce in sight. So I'm not seeing any clear support levels at these levels. Oh, I take that back. This was the middle Bollinger Band at 1269, and we lost that level. We lost the low of Wednesday. Next support is 1257. And then after that, I'd be looking down to 1224. So no sign of the bulls. Don't want to try and catch this falling knife. Need a bullish reversal candlestick on the 5-minute time frame at the very least. So SPY 5-minute RSI cooling off a little bit, still holding 5-minute exponential supports, with the bulls seeing strength. Amazon new all-time high, so bullish break and continuation. Watching Google now to be a potential laggard. Google has another $3.50 to the upside to be at its all-time high. Checking back in on the miners. JNUG, nice follow through to the upside. NUGT leading the way, and USLV. So that change in the correlation did not occur. And fortunately for the bulls, we held, at least NUGT is a beautiful 5-minute chart, holding the 20-period 5-minute the entire pre-market session, first thing this morning, and then seeing continuation. JNUG a little bit more ugly, but still strong and seeing follow through. ACIA, bulls still in control short term on the daily time frame. Daily middle Bollinger Band is 46.85. At this point, a must-hold level is 44.12, and the bulls must get over 49.25 and 49.41 to see this bounce play out. But bulls have been unable to change the trend for a very long time, and here we are testing that daily middle Bollinger Band resistance, and how we close to that level will be telling in the short term. 46.85 is that level. GoPro is flying. I don't have any news on it showing up for me. Clear bull break. So SPY bulls remain in full control as oil is remaining strong. Natural gas is remaining strong, so the energy sector bulls are out today. XLF is down at the low of the day still. So GS and other weak financial names just barely trying to hold on. And GS on the daily is a potential bear flag at this point. If we see SPY consolidate more significantly, we'll look for GS and the financial sector to lead the way to the downside. Tesla is dumping. Support is the low from Wednesday, 305.50. If we were to head down to that level with oversold RSI on the 5-minute, we could absolutely be looking for a short-term bounce. 5-minute RSI right now is 27. Low of the day test for the financial sector. As Google continues slow and steady at the highs, trying to act as a laggard to Amazon. So already seeing some new all-time highs, NVDA and Amazon. So very clearly, the dump day back on Wednesday was really not worth paying a ton of attention to in terms of the longer-term daily uptrend, with so many of these names that really didn't do anything to their uptrend on the daily time frame. So it's just a perfect example. Just rewind to last week. You remember the fear and everybody staying up all night and talking about Trump and FBI and all the noise that the media and the fear and the people were trying to, really the herd. It's the herd mentality. And it's just meaningless at this point. That's why I try and block out all that fundamental news and just look at the charts. And if we don't see more than one day of downside, if we didn't see any follow through the next day, then we know it's not really that significant. And we look at SPY and we look at March 21st. I kept highlighting how 21st and 22nd looked fairly similar, and it's an even stronger recovery than we saw back then. So the dips in this market continue to be bought as weak hands get shaken on days like last Wednesday. So Amazon bulls in full control. Exponential 5-minute moving averages are support. Resistance is 971 and 972. If we lose the 5-minute exponential moving averages, we'll look to consolidate a little bit. But the bulls are in control of Amazon. Very low bear volume on Amazon 5-minute chart. SPY could be a potential bull flag. I want to see how it reacts to these exponential supports at this point. Normal healthy consolidation after being overbought on the 5-minute time frame. Tesla's still down at the low of the day, watching those mid 305 supports very close. And as of right now, the tech sector, or the financial sector, I should say, is being able to defend its low of the day. Google's still slow and steady, now just $2.50 from its all-time high. ISRG, bears obviously want to see a break of the low of the day to give that momentum a push in their favor. Netflix is giving back its gains, down over $1 from the high of the day. We know Facebook started weak. Tesla was weak. So there are some weak names out there. The level for CMG bulls to hold on the daily time frame is 476.04, key support. FNSR, bulls in full control, exponential moving averages as support. Resistance on the daily time frame. Upper Bollinger Bands right here, 25.56. We are hitting higher highs. 25.56, and then 25.57. So there's a couple resistances, both the upper Bollinger Band and previous price action right at that level. BAC dumping. A little short-term oversold bounce at this point. Resistance is 23.07 and 23.09. Daily time frame, inside bar forming currently. XBI, high volume here. Testing the high of the day, so a complete turnaround. Could be news related. Volume would suggest it is. So let's see if these biotech bulls can break to a new high of the day. As Amazon is still at all-time highs and strong. Google high of the day. NVDA trying to recover. NVDA just established a support on consolidation, so 138.05 is a must hold for the rest of the morning for the bulls to remain in full control. Keep an eye on these biotechs. The sector is showing life. AGN is up at the high of the day with a higher low and higher high. Oversold bounce trying to play out on AGN, but we're rejecting from the 4-period exponential resistance for 2 weeks in a row. That level is 220.87. We must close over it. We've seen what X has done with its inability to close over its resistance, where it has pulled back for 3 weeks. We were already oversold, and then we pulled back for another 3 weeks because we couldn't get over these exponential resistances. AMD oversold bounce, bullish reversal 5-minute candlestick trying to be confirmed. Resistance exponential on the 5-minute. Did already break the low of Friday, affirming that the bears have control of the trend on the morning. I've got resistance at 11.34 and 11.38, the exponential moving averages. So SPY bulls still very strong, holding up. And we do have a new high of the day on the biotech sector, so something's up with the biotechs. And we're watching to see if these individual names follow along. 69.62 is resistance on XBI, as is 69.69. Tesla is still a lead bear with very little bounce, as is CMG. Bull miners are testing their 20-period 5-minute moving average support. They want to hold that level to remain their strongest, keeping in mind NUGT has not lost that level at any point this morning, so if we were to lose it, it would stand out as a red flag. So XLF financial sector has a double bottom at the low of the day, and it's trying to make its way back to the high of the day. And obviously breaking that level after a double bottom would show some nice strength, as the SPY bulls are looking to confirm a bull flag on the 5-minute with continuation. So the gap to fill for SPY to the upside is 239.63. That's the next level we're watching. Apple has faded very significantly from its high of the day. Big time pullback. Once we broke the low of the day, that was a bearish signal. And now we're testing the last 5-minute moving average support of 153.31. And the tech sector is still strong. So Facebook down at the low of the day as well. Facebook and Apple, yet another scenario. We saw this last week where these high beta lead names in the tech sector don't see a direct correlation with the tech sector as a whole, as they are down at the lows and XLK is well above its low of the day. ACIA is a potential bull flag on the 5-minute as long as those exponential moving average supports hold. Keep an eye on Baidu. Baidu's up at the high of the day, and then we're looking at the high of this move that we've seen in the 192s. FIT very strong. Support on the 5-minute is 558. Bull break of the inside bar on the daily occurred at 555, and the 50-day moving average resistance is next at 574. SPY short-term support, the low of that consolidation was 239.12. I don't think it's news on Apple because it's the same thing that Apple and Facebook did last week multiple times, where they were weak and the tech sector was strong. And now the tech sector's fading a little bit, definitely seeing some of this weight to the downside by these big holdings. But Apple's losing all 5-minute moving average supports. Facebook did right at the open. Facebook was the leader to the downside out of these two. And Netflix as well. Remember, Netflix was in that correlation, and Netflix is at the low of the day. So Apple, Facebook, and Netflix, their own little grouping, doing their own thing aside from the tech sector. And it's usually weaker. That's what it was last week. I don't think X is going to be 10% in one day. I think it's the same scenario as USLV. I was calling for USLV to see a 10% bounce from its lows because of the magnitude of how oversold we were. And we've got close to a 20% bounce on USLV. Just looking for 10% on X once we get the exponential daily resistance as support for the first time in a month. And once we start to see shorts cover and bulls buy the dip for an oversold bounce, I think seeing a $2 move will be fairly easy. FRPT, all green, all bulls today. The 5-minute RSI is extended at 86. Beautiful bull flag on the daily time frame leading to follow through. And a really strong chart on the daily and the weekly. Breakout mode on the weekly. 15 psychological resistance, exponential moving average support all morning. And I think someone told me about this stock a couple years ago. It's coming off of its lows after an IPO dump. But bulls in full control. Next weekly resistance up at 1560. BX on the verge of a bear break, losing that 20-period 5-minute, and we will see a new low of the day on this gap up open. The next support is down at 3112. Bulls need to close above the daily upper Bollinger Band of 3134. If we break 3136, bears take short-term control. UA is seeing weakness so far today, but the must-hold level is 1721 or 1705 on the daily. Those are the two must-hold support levels. So SPY is testing its consolidation low, and we do have a bit of a double top by 2 pennies. So if we were to break 239.12 after that little double top, we would need to be a bit cautious. And the lead bears are Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Netflix. CMG forming a higher low on the daily, keeping that uptrend intact so far. PBYI is on absolute fire with tons of volume. Certainly a strong reaction to that halt. Resistance on the weekly from here. Key resistance 73.27. Amazon consolidating a little bit, still healthy at this point, but a bit cautious because SPY is about to break to lower lows on the 5-minute time frame after a bit of a double top. We've got the financial sector at the low of the day. So we do need to be a bit cautious. Just because I am anticipating this bounce to fade. We've been bouncing. This is the third start of the day to a bounce. Bounced Thursday and Friday. And keeping an eye out for the potential of the bulls to fade a bit. SPY has all hourly moving averages as support. Baidu's up at the high of the day. And Apple and Facebook and Netflix continue to hit lows. Keeping an eye on volume on SPY to see if the bears have any kind of momentum here. Fairly decent. Not very high at this point. Still 20-period 5-minute moving average support on SPY down to 238.98. So JNUG bouncing right off its 20-period 5-minute moving average support, now setting a lower high compared to the high of the day. We're going to see a tightening range on the 5-minute time frame. So our key support is 18.97, and our resistance is the high of the day, 19.28. Looking to NUGT for some potential clues where we're holding our 20-period 5-minute here, and we're on the verge of the high of the day. We have a double top at the high of the day right now. If NUGT breaks to higher highs, we'll look for JNUG to be a bit of a laggard. NVDA looking to go to 140 if we get a new high of the day. Netflix continues the slow and steady trickle to the downside. Netflix was in the weaker category because we did not break the high of Wednesday, and then today, rejecting just at that level. 158.78, we rejected from 158.60. So those biotech bulls really took off. Once they hit that new high of the day, XBI went a quick 50%, or 50 cents, I should say, to the upside. Look at the bear volume at the start of the day and the bull volume the last 25 minutes. Not even comparable. LOW is a potential bear flag on the daily time frame. Middle Bollinger Band key resistance, as is the exponential resistance. Have to get over that daily middle Bollinger Band for it not to be a potential bear flag. And support is down at 83.63. If the bulls can turn that middle Bollinger Band back into support, we will look for continuation because it does look like the weekly time frame would be a bull flag, and that is the case. So if we can get back over the daily middle Bollinger Band, we'll look to try and confirm this bull flag on the weekly. DY Very tight sideways. Current channel to be watching is 104.33 support and 108.75 resistance. Also looks like a bull flag on the weekly. Let's double check. And that is the case. So very tight range with the Bollinger Bands, but certainly favoring the bulls on these flags. TOL, potential bearish reversal candlestick rejecting from the upper Bollinger Band on the daily today, but very strong continuation. And resistance is 38.06. That's a very key resistance on the weekly because that is the top from where we dumped. And the bulls have had a nice, easy time getting recovery all of 2016 from that dump where we dumped from 39 to 23 in just 2 months. But we're now back at the top of those resistance levels. So there's a lot of previous price resistance at these levels that the bulls did not have to deal with over the past year that they've been bouncing. EL 20-period 5-minute moving average needs to hold to keep these bulls in control. They're testing the low of the previous consolidation of 92.59. Strong daily chart. Nice bullish candlestick on Friday. A little bit of follow through today. Bulls want to see a new high of the day to see convincing follow through. But as long as that daily middle Bollinger Band holds, the bulls remain in control. Financial sector new low of the day, checking in on weak name GS. GS at the lows. Last 5-minute moving average support is 216.03. Oil still very strong, keeping the bulls in control. So support from here on SPY is the 20-period 5-minute moving average. As Netflix continues the slow fade, as does Tesla, our lead bears to the downside. SPY 20-period 5-minute is at 239 on the dot currently. XLF now in the red, still weak for the financial sector. ACIA, good looking 5-minute chart with follow through. Nice little bull flag there. Resistance is up at 49.25 on the daily, so psychological resistance is until then. Very solid volume. We are already going to pass Friday's total volume in the first hour of trading. Baidu continuing strong up at the highs, trying to head to resistance in the 192s. Tech sector still holding up just fine. If the tech sector begins to consolidate, it will certainly weigh on SPY, but right now we're not seeing it. So SPY is at the 20 period 5-minute support. Let's see key support on XLK down at 55.45. Lose that level and we head to the low of the day. As long as it holds, the bulls remain strong. GoPro bulls absolutely in full control. They are proving themselves today, following through with that momentum from Friday. Daily upper Bollinger Band, 916 resistance. Goal for the bulls is just close over that double top of 880. Google's not a bear flag. We've already recovered more than the flag pole would be to the downside. And we're just looking at that all-time high. We're right there. So SPY bulls still holding that 20 period 5-minute, remaining in control. NVDA, no sign of the bears. New support is 138.65. Lose that level and we look to 138.05. BAC, lower highs and lower lows, increasing bear volume, seeing that weakness in the sector. Looking at the low of Friday, 22.87. So SPY Bulls still strong. Hold that 20 period 5 minute and remain in control. 239.05 and rising. NTES still strong with the exponential 5 minute moving averages as support. Testing the high of the day. Must close over 292.90. And resistance is 295.33. We did hold that 20 period 5 minute moving average, even though we did break to the low of the day. So that 20 period 5 minute is very key for the rest of the day after it did hold that new low of the day. But it's all about where we close relative to that upper Bollinger Band. Either way, even if we do reject from that upper Bollinger Band, we are going to continue seeing higher lows and higher highs on the daily for the past couple days. Bulls have been able to shake off the upper wicks the past 2 days and continue. Amazon is a potential bull flag on the 15 minute, very low bear volume. SPY bulls would need to keep the 20 period 5 minute support in order for the Amazon bulls to have the best shot at confirming that candlestick. Tech sector is still strong up near the highs, even though the financial sector is at the lows. PCLN 1835 resistance from here. ETH bulls heading back to the all-time high up at 184.20. New support established in the 176s. That's new key short-term support on ETH. LTC had a nice 12+% move from the lows of the morning, but the bulls are having a really hard time holding on to any gains. The hourly chart has big upper wicks of profit taking on LTC. Amazon bulls are showing up on the 5 minute time frame. New support established down at the lows of 967, 12, and 13. Baidu, slow and steady bull. Very key resistance is approaching for Baidu. 192.37. Back to the lows for the financial sector. And watching XLK support of 55.45. So next SPY support is the low of the day, 238.84. We have a bunch of hourly support on SPY. 238.86, 42, 43. Those are all the hourly moving average supports. So we've got Apple at the low of the day on SPY weakness, now in the red. And Facebook and Netflix are not too far behind. AMD $11 and then 10.81. We're rejecting from the daily middle Bollinger Band for the second day in a row. Baidu after 192.37. We're looking up at... There's another resistance at 192.42 right there. And then we're looking up at 197.80 on the weekly. SSYS and DDD are changing the downtrend, which has been in place since the bubble popped in 2014. We have broken the lower high pattern. We are now looking to set higher lows and higher highs. A long-term downtrend has shifted in the past 2 months. And comparing both of them, DDD is a bit stronger. It's come off more significantly from its lows. So we will look for higher lows and higher highs. We are a bit extended to the upside on the weekly after such a strong move over the past 2 months. But on consolidation, we will look for a higher low to form and then for the bulls to continue strong. SPY is back testing the 20 period 5 minute 239.06. Tech sector still holding key support. Amazon bulls still holding on just fine, as are the NVDA bulls. So as long as SPY keeps hourly supports, which there are plenty of, the bulls remain in control. So keep that in mind. Even though we did lose that 20 period on the 5 minute, you look at the hourly time frame and it's still all bulls. CRM, extremely strong recovery off of the dip first thing this morning with a lot of bull volume to back it up. Last 5 minute resistance is 88.45. Lots of resistance on the hourly and the 5 minute in the mid $88 range. Daily middle Bollinger Band support holding for the second day in a row, trying to recover from the gap and trap Friday. Amazon closing in on its all-time high, just $1.30 shy of that level. RDUS in a channel on the 5 minute, 37.60 support, 39 even resistance. Those levels are going to converge. And daily time frame, losing that 20 period of 5 minute on the gap up led to a lot of profit taking. Very strong daily chart for the robot sector. Very strong weekly charts. Tons of volume in 2017 for Robo. Checking bots. That's a beautiful blue sky breakout recent IPO. Those are all bulls, both of those names. So still keeping an eye on the low of the day. Same scenario as it's been all morning. Weak financial sector, tech sector holding up fine, energy sector holding up strong, and a decent mix of bulls and bears in terms of individual names. As NVDA goes for the all-time high, Amazon bulls holding up just fine. After an all-time high, we got Google closing in on its all-time high, though running out of a bit of steam in the short term. And CMG fading back down to the low of the day. So I'm going to wrap up the morning webcam here. Again, all about the SPY hourly chart. Bulls are in full control as long as that level holds. And there's a few levels to hold. If we see weakness, if we see the tech sector lose 55-45 support, we'll be looking at Facebook and Apple to continue to lead the way to the downside. And if we see the bulls stay strong in the market, we know NVDA and Amazon are positioned well. Baidu positioned well as well. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll be back in 15 minutes to continue coverage in the chat room. Have a good rest of your morning.